class 9th. Today we are going to start new chapter 6, local self-government rural. Today's topic is local self-government, emergence of Panchayati Raj. We will discuss the following points. So the objectives of today's topic are meaning of local self-government, the need and importance of the local self-government, local government and local self-government, major types of local self-government, emergence of Panchayati Raj. Now we will discuss some key terms. Number 1, emancipation. It means the process of being set free from legal, social or political restrictions. Number 2, empowerment. It means authority or power given to someone to do something. Number 3, employment. It means the state of having paid work. Number 4, equity. It means the quality of being fair and impartial. Let's discuss about local self-government. In India, the Panchayati Raj now functions as system of governance in which Gram Panchayats are the basic units of local administration. The system has 3 levels: Gram Panchayat, village level, Panchayat Samiti, block level, and Zilla Parishad, district level. Was formalized in 1992 by the 73rd Amendment to the Constitution. 73rd Amendment envisages the Gram Sabha as the foundation of the Panchayat Raj system to perform functions and powers entrusted to it by the state legislatures. Currently, the Panchayati Raj system exists in all states except Nagaland, Meghalaya and Mizoram, and in all union territories except Delhi. Panchayati Raj institutions. Gram Panchayat, first tier at village level. A Gram Panchayat or village Panchayat is the only grassroots level of Panchayati Raj formalized local self-governance system in India at the village level. It has a Sarpanch as its elected head. Panchayat Samiti, second tier at block level. Panchayat Samiti, also known as Block Development Councils, are rural local government at the intermediate level in Panchayati Raj institutions. Zilla Parishad, third tier at district level. The Zilla Parishad is the third tier of Panchayati Raj system at district level. It is an elected body. The members of the state legislature and the members of the Parliament of India are members of the Zilla Parishad. Now come to the reading part. Chapter 6, Local Self-Government Rural, page number 62. Local self-government. Meaning of local self-government. India is a vast country with over 1.3 billion population, most of whom live in villages. Neither is it easy to involve all people in governance, nor is it possible for the government to look into minute details of administration for the welfare of the people. In order to solve these problems, a system has been created. India is a vast country with a large population who live in villages. So it is not possible for the central as well as state government to look after the welfare of the people. So they created local self-government to solve all these problems. Local self-government is an institution which is constituted to look into local problems and to provide basic amenities, means facility, to the citizens of a village or a town or a city. In fact, it is the lowest unit of the governing machinery of a state charged with the responsibility of the welfare of the citizens of that unit which it serves. Local self-government is an institution comprising locally elected representatives managing the affairs of the locality and providing them with basic amenities. In a rural areas, such an institution is called panchayat, and in urban areas, it is known as municipal corporation or municipality. It is the lowest unit of the governing machinery of a state. The need and importance of the local self-government. The local self-government plays a very important role in a democratic country. Its need is greatly felt because of the following reasons. The local self-government institution plays an important role in the functioning of democracy at grassroots level. This importance also stresses the need for having such institutions. Firstly, it serves as a training center for the leadership of the country. Most of the legislators, means lawmakers, begin their career as members of the local bodies and gain the required experience to rise to the national status. The local institutions provide a training ground for local leadership and to gain necessary experience for undertaking bigger challenges at the state or the national level. Secondly, it is the local people who can best know their own problems, which are often peculiar, means unusual to the areas concerned. These problems are easily and more efficiently solved by the local self-government of the place concerned. These institutions provide the foundations on which the entire democratic structure of our country stands. These institutions make it possible for local people to take interest in their affairs and groom them well to take on larger responsibilities later. Local people know their problems well and are best judges of their own needs. Thirdly, it brings the people and administration close to each other. Such a contact is very vital for the success of democracy. Local self-government institutions gain the support of local communities. So it brings the people and administration close to each other. Through these institutions, government can reach ordinary citizens in times of need like national emergency. Fourthly, it relieves the state and the central governments of the responsibility to look into petty local problems so that they can concern themselves with more important matters. These institutions lessen the burden of workload on state and central government machinery so that they can concern themselves with more important matters. Local government and local self-government. There is a difference between local self-government and local government. Local self-government consists of the elected representatives who receive grants from the government for the administration of the locality. The people's representatives govern the locality. However, in local government, the administration of the locality is looked after by the officials appointed by the state. They are paid salary by the government. Local self-government is quite different from local government. In local government, the administration of a locality is looked after by the officials appointed by the state. Such officials are paid a salary. They include patwari or policemen or the village chowkidar and the village postman. The officials provide certain services to the village people and do not have any say in management and administration of local affairs. Local self-government consists of elected representatives. They receive government grants for their activities like sanitation, providing elementary education and settling disputes. That is to say that local people govern themselves. Panchayati Raj institutions, Gram Panchayat, first tier at village level, Panchayat Samiti, second tier at block level, Zilla Parishad, third tier at district level. A three-tier system of local self-government for rural areas came into effect in April 1993. There were the Gram Panchayats at the village level, Panchayat Samiti at block level and the Zilla Parishad at the district level. The four main objectives of Panchayati Raj in India are emancipation, empowerment, employment, equity. The main objectives of Panchayati Raj in India are emancipation. It means to free the people from legal, social, or political restrictions. Empowerment. It means to give authority or power to the people to do something. Employment. It means an act or instance of employing someone or something. Number 4, equity. It means the quality of being fair and impartial. Major types of local self-government. By way of composition, the local self-governments can be put under two categories: nominated local self-governments, elected local self-governments. In India, during the British rule, only the former type of local self-governments were organized. In independent India, a member of two may be nominated to a local self-government here and there, but by and large, these are popularly elected bodies. Broadly speaking, we can divide the local self-governments in two types: rural local self-governments, urban local self-governments. Major types of local self-government. Local self-government can be put under two categories: nominated local self-government, elected local self-government. There were nominated local self-government during the British rule, but after the independence there are elected local self-government, which divide into two parts: rural local self-government, urban local self-government. Local self-government in India: rural areas, urban areas. In rural areas, Gram Sabha, Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti or Block Samiti, Zilla Parishad. And in urban areas, it includes municipal corporation, municipal committee, town area committee, improvement trust, notified area committee, cantonment board, port trust. Emergence of Panchayati Raj. Since ancient times, Indian villages had local administrative units. The villages were administered by a council of 5 village elders called Panchayat. The Panchayat members were elected by villagers on the basis of their seniority and wisdom. The decision of the Panchas were respected and considered final. This system continued undisturbed till the British took over the administration under British rule. The self-sufficiency of the villages was disturbed and the self-governing institutions began to change. Panchayati Raj was not a new concept to India. Indian villages had panchayats, council of 5 persons, from very ancient time. The panchayat members were elected by villagers on the basis of their seniority and wisdom. They were having both executive and judicial powers and used to handle various issues: land distribution, tax collection, etc., or disputes arising in the village area. This system continued till the British took over the administration and the self-governing institutions began to change. During the freedom struggle, Mahatma Gandhi laid emphasis on reviving the panchayat system. Article 40 of the Indian Constitution, Directive Principles, lays down that the state will take effective steps to organize village panchayats. In 1957, a committee was set up under the chairmanship of Balwant Rai Mehta to suggest measures for reviving the panchayat system. The committee submitted its report in 1958. It recommended the establishment of a 3-tier system of panchayats: Gram Panchayat at the village level, Panchayat Samiti at the block level, and the Zilla Parishad at the district level. The Balwant Rai Committee report came into effect in April 1958. The Panchayati Raj Act 1992 and the Nagar Palika Act 1992 streamlined, means smoothed, the composition and functioning of local self-government in India. Gandhiji also held the opinion of the empowerment of panchayats for the development of rural areas. Thus, recognizing their importance, our constitution makers include a provision for panchayats in Part 4 of our constitution, Directive Principles of State Policy. Article 40 lays down that the state will take effective steps to organize village panchayats. Thus, its formal organization and structure was firstly recommended by Balwant Rai Committee 1957, Committee to examine the Community Development Program 1952. The committee submitted its report in 1958. It recommended for a 3-tier system at village, block and district level, and it also recommended for direct election of village level panchayat. The Balwant Rai Mehta Committee report came into effect in April 1958. The Panchayati Raj Act and Nagarpalika Act 1992 smoothened the composition and functioning of local self-government in India. Thank you.